2 weeks ago, I had a very rare privilege to attend a ceremony at the home of a friend who went to be with the Lord. He was a lay reader emeritus, a teacher, Mr. Joseph Soet. In that ceremony, I had time to talk and discuss with Mr. Peter Boyo, a distinguished saboat elder. And we discussed the correlation between Christianity and saboat culture. After death, 3 days after death, there was a ceremony that was called Kibundoi Met. That is a ceremony where death was chased, or literally, it was a ceremony that reflected the concept of resurrection. The 3 days are synonymous with the days that Jesus Christ was on the tomb, and on the third day, he resurrected. There is a correlation. Also, after 40 days, people of that family that lost a beloved one did a ceremony so that they can be integrated back to the community. Long time ago, they used to shave, and it showed that they are beginning. We pointed out that in biblical numerics, 14 represented or depicted a long period of time, and it showed transition in our particular culture, transition to mourning, from mourning to integration back to the community. And people are allowed now to walk and interact with others. And they gave people time to psychologically adjust after losing a beloved one. Amongst our discussion came the concept of the initiator. Since time immemorial, it has been known that the saboat people participated in a ceremony of initiation. There was naming, there was initiation, marriage, and also the death rituals. All these rites of passage had an initiator, and the initiator came from the community. It is unfortunate, as we discussed, but our community, in the concept of initiation, these days, other people have taken that role. It was explained to me that other people took that role because there were three distinct and important roles that were done by our people. In initiation, there was the guider, Muturionde. Number two, there was the initiator, Gebindet. Number three, there was a person who blessed the person, Chironyebite. The three people were very critical in our culture. The saboat placed emphasis and premium on Moturionde, the person who guided, and he was also instrumental even after the period. He used to be a guider, a role model, an elder who was considered to be above reproach, somebody who exercised industry and was able to feed and take care of the family, a person of morals. He was the guider. The guider was considered important, and secondly, the person who blessed. Chironyebite, somebody who blessed the person after this very, very important milestone in life. But the challenge was the initiator, Gebinde. They thought it was a temporal function. Therefore, long time ago, it was relegated to people who are considered watu wa mkono. And from the history that I gathered, from the exit of Korongoro, that is when the people changed and they gave it to other people. It was considered as part of manual labor, not as important as the other ones. But right now, I think that anomaly needs to be corrected in the sense that the initiator is important because he initiated people into the community, and it had to be done by somebody who was part and parcel of the community. The misgivings of the past and the misconceptions of the past needs to be changed. I did research on the initiators who came from our community, and I only came to know that there was one in Sukwo from Kaptai clan, the clan of my grandmother. And he passed on this knowledge and skill to his son. And later, we have none. They were those, and I think even before, and even our neighbors from the Bukusu community affirm that even Mango, their ancestor, was initiated by somebody from our community. So we had initiators. And the ministry of the initiator, or the purpose of the initiator, is very, very critical, and it needs to be restored. We cannot go back to the past. But I want to say that even when Jesus was taken to the temple, initiation was very, very critical. And he was initiated by a person who belonged to the community. It's a critical function that needs to be restored and be given back to the people that are supposed to do it, the people who belong to the community. And how do we do it? We cannot go back to the past. We might not be able to ascertain which clan did it. And even in the genealogy of the initiator who was known to come from our community, that knowledge may not have been passed to posterity. But what do we do? There is some saving grace. And what is the saving grace? There are people who have learned medicine. And there are people who are doing surgery in our community. We need to have a ceremony where they are blessed and allowed to perform this particular rite of passage for a particular person in our community. All the age sets, we need to have dialogue between the church and the community so that the age sets are restored and all are welcomed, regardless of where that act of initiation took place. We are Christians, and at the same time, we belong to the community. Therefore, I challenge you and tell you that we cannot assume one side of the coin. These people should be blessed by the church and the elders of the community. And they should be allowed to perform these distinct functions. And let's restore and give preeminence to the other officers of the Moturionde, people of integrity, and also people who bless. The church can partake of all these positions, and they can do it. And we can do it in collaboration and synergy with the elders. I find that this is the essence of African Christian theology. And the essence of African Christian theology is to integrate elements of culture that were relevant and elements of the culture that are true and do not contradict the Bible, and also to pick truths that are biblical and apply it. We need to have a Christianity that is born in our land and our community. Most of these ceremonies we can always attend as the church. And there is no fight between the church and culture. Things like FGM will never come back again. They are relics of the past, and no one can advocate for them. But we can pick. There are two things. There was Kap Ngetun, where men graduated, and Gab Merindo for ladies. We might not go into the gymnastics of what happened, but we can have a ceremony where men graduate and where ladies graduate, regardless of their persuasion. These should be the way forward. And I want to say, Paul says, to those under the law, I become like under the law. To those without the law, I become like under the law. Inculturation or Contextualization says, I become all things to all men so that I can win some. We need to be true sabots and true Christians. And we need to reflect. It's a call for the community to reflect on the three offices during initiation: the office of the guider, the office of the initiator, and the office of the blesser. All these three offices are critical, and people of the community should take the offices, and these should be our leading lights and our guides. When these offices have been neglected, that's why there is the rise of drunkenness, the rise of drugs, and theft in our community, because we did not take it seriously. May the Lord bless us and guide us. In the name of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Going good.